Hey everybody, welcome to Ciabatta Creations. My name's Gareth and this is my little corner of the internet playing with my food. Today I'm going to do something that I absolutely adore. This is my Vietnamese pork belly. Now I made this just because I wanted something that I could whip together and just eat when I'm on my own in the evening. And this is just fabulous for that. Those South Asian flavours are just beautiful. So we're going to get cracking and it's going to be quite simple. We're going to make a marinade. Very first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with simple stuff. So you're going to want 2 garlic cloves. I'm just going to chop these down really fine. Grab yourself a tray or a sandwich bag or something so that you can put the meat into it later. But we'll chop these down and get them in there. Okay, that's the garlic in there. Now, ginger. So you're going to want about ½ inch of ginger, essentially what's going to be about a tablespoon of chopped. So I'm going to use this lazy stuff because I'm lazy. And that should be about right. And again, just chop it down really fine like you did the garlic. Okay, that's the ginger in. Now, some of those wet ingredients. So we're going to use fish sauce. You've got to, for this is gorgeous stuff. Smells atrocious before it's cooked. Woo. But it's beautiful, really, really works well. So you want a tablespoon of fish sauce in here. Like so. And then you want a tablespoon of groundnut oil. And that's just going to thicken it up a bit and let it kind of stick to the meat. Lovely. Get that out of the way. Now lime juice. You know, you've got that kind of classic mixture there. It's gorgeous stuff. So you only want about half a lime. Kind of just squeeze it in there. Try not to squirt it all over your clothes. Lovely. So that's the lime. Now we're going to add in some sweetness. So you want some sugar. It's quite easy, this one. Tablespoon of sugar. I'm using white caster sugar for this, just because it's kind of easier for it to dissolve. If you start using kind of demerara or normal granulated sugar, you'd be there stirring for ages. So, tablespoon of sugar. And then kaffir lime leaves. These are gorgeous little things that just have so much punch of flavour. We can use dried, you can use fresh as well. But you're going to want 4 leaves, or the equivalent of 4 leaves if they're dried and they've all broken up. And then all I'm going to do is chop out the stalk, or pull away the leaves from that stalk, because that's not particularly great to eat. So yeah, just pop that middle stalk bit out, a little bit tough. So you don't want that. Just pop that away. Get rid of it. There we go. That's the last of those lime leaves in there. Now, if you can't get lime leaves, lemongrass work beautifully. Use about half a stick of lemongrass. Chop it up really, really fine. Take off like one of the outer layers and then get it really fine. Only reason I'm sort of really using lime leaves rather than lemongrass is here at the moment it's much easier to find. I can't get lemongrass anywhere apart from dried. Dried you don't really want to use in this because it will never really get to the point where you can eat it. It'll be so kind of tough. So that lime, perfect. So we can give that a mix around. Just try and get that sugar dissolved. There we go, with that caster sugar. Takes no time at all. So the last thing, just going to put a little pinch of salt and pepper in. So pinch of salt. Just a couple of turns of black pepper. So there we go. That's the marinade complete. So that's got some glorious kind of sourness, sweetness, saltiness. Would normally add some heat in for that kind of classic balance. Not going to here just because I love to add my own, like a bit of chili sauce over the top. That way anyone can add as much or as little as they like, really. You know, you're not all done by whatever the cook likes, because for me, I like it pretty hot. So now we can move on to the pork belly. Now, because I'm doing this essentially for two, you'd use 500 grams of pork belly with that amount of marinade. I'm actually going to do enough for one today because I'm on my own. So this is going to be my dinner. Same amount of marinade, just half the pork belly. The great thing about that is you end up with another half. You can whack it in the freezer and use it later. Have another one. So get your pork belly, and it's usually going to be a bit too thick. So we want this kind of thin because this is going to be laid in a sandwich. Yeah, if it gets too big, you won't even be able to get your mouth around it. So what we're going to do is split each one in half lengthways. So you've got about 1 centimetre thick slices. Yeah, so you're going to need a sharp knife. You just slice that in half. There you go. Two lovely thinner bits of pork belly. All that's left to do now is pop it in your marinade and give it a good mix up. So there you go. Give it a good mix. So it's all nice covered, and then give it a push down. All done. All we got to do now, pop the lid on, whack it in the fridge for 2 hours. And that 2 hours at least is going to kind of really help all of those juices break that meat and fat down a bit. So when you're cooking it, you just get a much more tender, kind of juicier pork belly at the end. It's really beautiful. So we'll whack that in the fridge. And while we're doing that, we're just going to make a little bit of a pickle that goes so beautifully well with this. Right, while that's marinating for the pickle, so simple this. You're going to need a red onion. You're just going to basically cut it into little rings. So you just want quite thin, you know, I'd say about 2 to 3 mil thin. Okay, that's my red onion done. Now, you're going to make quite a lot here, so don't worry about that. You'll use, if you're making the whole thing for one, you're not going to use all of this, but it is glorious just to have in the fridge and chuck on some salad. Just kind of livens things up a bit. So once you've got your onions, you want a carrot. Easiest way I found to do this, just with a potato peeler. Just shave off and keep shaving off so you get nice little bits like that. You don't want like huge ones, but the nice little ribbons. Just keep turning it and giving it a shave. So that's my kind of veg portion. We just whack that, breaking those onions up a bit into a nice little tray or a bowl or whatever you got to hand. It's going to fit pretty snugly. But once you've put what we're going to put on it, it will start to sort of, again, soften it slightly. So that's good. Get that nicely mixed. Excellent. Now what we're going to do, grab some coriander. You're going to want a handful. It's going to work out probably about 2 tablespoons once it's done. And you're just going to chop that up really fine, stalks and all. Great. So pop your coriander on top, like so, and then grab your lime. So the other half of the lime from the pork, we're just going to squeeze that all over the top. Now again, fish sauce. So you're going to want 2 teaspoons or 2/3 of a tablespoon of fish sauce in there, which is about that much. Now add that sweetness in, bit of sugar. So you're going to want a tablespoon of sugar in here. Just pop that in. And then last but by no means least to this, we're going to add in cider vinegar. Now, that wouldn't really be traditional for a kind of Asian pickle, but we're using pork. Pork and apple, so good together that I just love adding that little bit of cider vinegar in to sort of bring a bit of that in with it. So you're going to want 3 tablespoons of cider vinegar. And then, time to get messy. And there we have it, pickles done. So again, whack a lid on, pop that in the fridge. It doesn't necessarily need any time. You could make this just like that, mix it up well and good, pop it out and use it. But leave it for a little bit, it will just start to kind of soften some of that carrot and the onions down a little bit, and will go awesome with that pork belly. Okay, so all our marinating's done now. Now's the really exciting bit. We can start putting this together. So we've got our pork, and you'll see it's changed colour. It's gone a slightly sort of grayer colour, which probably looks slightly less appetizing, but actually that's helping it kind of break down. It's going to give you that really nice flavours are all in there. It's going to keep it nice and tender. So you just want to get your pan really hot, and then a little bit of groundnut oil, just to stop things sticking a bit. And then you can lay it in, and this is going to take on a hot heat probably about 6 to 8 minutes. You're just looking for it to kind of caramelize and get that fat on the outside to crisp up a bit. So we'll pop that in. Perfect, so I'm going to keep that up on temperature, switch all my extractor fans on. Those sugars will really kind of caramelize. You may end up with a fair bit of smoke in the house, but it's not burning. Caramelizing. Okay, that is perfect. So it's got that nice kind of crusty caramelized edges. We can just pop that out now. Oh, lovely. Perfect, absolutely love that. We can just let that rest. While we're doing that, turn down your pan and then grab yourselves, so I'm using like a half ciabatta roll. And we're just going to pop that in, so it's already baked. We're just going to crisp that edge in all of that kind of lovely flavour. So we can just pop that down there, turn that up a little bit, and then we just toast that. It's going to really add some extra kind of crunch and loveliness to this whole thing. Okay, I'm so excited about this one. So now, just going to layer it up. Love a bit of mayonnaise with this. So we're just going to put big scoop of mayonnaise on the top, spread that along, lovely, get all of that on there. I'm addicted to mayonnaise, gorgeous. And then layer on that beautiful pork belly. And then we made that pickles, so we're just going to pop those on top as well. You're never going to use all of it. You'll see they really kind of soften down. Just layer a load on top. Really lovely. Then a little bit of salad. So I've chopped some iceberg lettuce with a little bit of more coriander in there. Whack that on top. And then your hot sauce, like I said, don't include chili in it because that way it's always to one person's taste. We're going to pour on your favourite hot sauce. Get plenty of that on there. Absolutely stunning. So, top that off. And there we have it. Oh, so good. I am so looking forward to this. That is my Vietnamese pork belly. Beautiful in a sandwich. If you don't want to cook it on a frying pan, you can grill this. You can put it in on a barbecue. It's fantastic on a barbecue. Just make sure you got small enough kind of bars so it doesn't fall between, because you know the charcoal taste isn't so great. But that is an absolute stunner of a sandwich, and at that size, that's a meal in itself. So I hope you give it a go. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.